Ha, I'm Gino Fabry. I'm being interviewed on Tussen die Kussings. Nie tussen die lakens nie. It's tussen die kussings. And you can vote for me. Well, you can't really vote for me. It's not a competition. Although I'm going to be the best interviewee on this show ever.
Verschrikkelijk braait.
Dis baie braai. Maar weet jy wie is braai?
Wie is braait?
Gino Fabry.
En wat doen ons met Gino Fabry?
Ons hou 'n onderhoud met Gino Fabry
Met Gino.
reg hier by die Bulls Club vandag by die Woods Bowling Club hier in Humoed Summerstrand area. Is dit
Ja.
Humoed Summerstrand?
Dis Humoed, dis agter die Oceanarium of soos my vriendin sê die Vis Museum.
Ja. Die vismuseum. En interessant genoeg, Dolores het gehoor ons kom, so sy gaan ook feature.
Yes.
So skakel in vir Tussen Kussings.
Kussings.
I don't know even where to start. Like I say, unscripted and professional, right?
No, it's tussen die kussings. Wat is tussen die kussings?
Yeah. No, you're not interviewing me. Stop it.
Ja,
You're not
maar
interviewing me.
it feels like I should be closer to you if it's tussen die kussings.
Nou fluister. Okay. Ek is Lisa Marie en ons gesels vandag met Gino Fabry.
Hallo's.
Ja, reg hier op Tussen die Kussings. Now, Gino, this isn't Gino's spot. We all love it. We've come to love it through lockdown. It literally helped me through as well.
Crazy, yeah?
But we felt like you tell so many people's stories, but no one's really told your story.
No, you're right. I haven't. I mean, I haven't really done an interview for ages. It's like I interviewed Donnie Gerber the other day. He said, luister as net een Engelse onderhoud per jaar. Die Afrikaanse onderhoude is alright.
So we'll switch. Ons
Ja,
gaan
switch.
Afrikaans en Engels. Ons gaan mengels vandag. Ons mengels
Heeltemal tweetalig.
Net daar
Ja,
sê. So Gino, where did it start? Because I mean, you've been in the industry for so long. Everyone's been to an event or to a center stage show or seen one of your 20 characters that you play. But
Yeah.
where did it start for you where you realized, hey, I'm hilarious?
I never thought hilarious, but I certainly knew that I could make people laugh. And I was just on the way down here today. I was listening. Somebody had asked for some Eminent Child music. Some of our albums that we did in the 90s and the early 2000s. And I listened back to this stuff, and I think it's like 25, 30 years, and it's crazy to go back again. But I mean, my journey kind of started at school. You know, from a very young age, probably about 7 or 8 years old, my parents were always doing. They had a group of people, of friends, in the 70s. The 70s was pretty cool in a lot of ways. It was pretty horrific in other ways. But the 70s was kind of there was no TV. There was no phones. There was no internet. It was a time when people got together a lot.
Yeah.
They used to put shows together, like literally a bunch of friends. You know, they come together. They decide, okay, the Rotary needs a show for for next week Friday. Okay, let's gooi. Okay, then everybody gets together. They have wine and they have get together and they made their own costumes. They did these amazing shows, and so as a youngster watching this stuff, you know, was already an eye-opener for me, and I loved the music, so I got into drums. I was a drummer first.
Oh wow!
And I started playing drums at about 9 years old.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
so you annoyed your parents from an early age.
I had a very understanding mother. My mother just loved. She was an artist, and she had very much an artistic brain, you know. So she loved music, she loved art, she loved anything to do with culture. You know, that was her thing. She got drawn to it, and so when I expressed a little bit of interest in the drums, she was like, "Okay, let's go.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah, find one. We'll find one." I mean, my grandpa had a Opa van Staden. He had a drum kit in the ceiling, and so they went and fished it down, and there were no drum skins on it, no heads, and my dad fixed it up for me. He got pigskin, sort of varkvel. It was terrible.
The 70s were rough.
You know, it was like, well, it must be animal
This is
skin.
me and my pork rinds drumming it up.
Pork rinds. It's so right. It was like, but it was something. Yeah. And obviously that I looked around and got myself a kit eventually and started playing. But I never got together in a band until high school when sort of matric. Actually, because nobody else played guitar, and
Yeah.
you know, I was like always trying to find somebody
You could do something, yeah.
And I started playing when I was 17, 18. Got into bands, and then I loved the bands.
Yeah.
I was just all I wanted to do was just play drums, and that's all I did throughout my 20s. Was I was working at a music shop. I studied, went to university. University toe gaan. Or you can do anything after you go to university. It's fine. It's just finish. So
My dad said the same thing. Even if you get a diploma as a clown, just get something.
exactly. No. So I got a degree in African languages. I did
wow.
Xhosa and Sotho, and then I got a diploma in clown.
That came naturally.
I did. So I obviously played in the bands in the 90s, and I absolutely loved it. Did all sorts of shows. I played everything that I could, like every single band that I could. I played in the townships. I played jazz. I played rock. I played at Pizza Palace here. We had played at Barney's, the beach fund. Played it wherever we could get a spot to play.
And in my dreams I've kissed your lips 1,000 times. I sometimes see you pass outside my door. Hello? My name is Ruan Benoni. Ruan Benoni. Well, my name used to be Ruan Hollywood. Because I always wanted to go to Hollywood. And my mother, she said the bus only goes for Benoni.
Like, there's obviously a lot of characters.
Yeah.
I mean, Lisa did some research and she says about 20 that you've done.
Yeah, geez, it's all over the place.
So obviously it come from everywhere, but now I want to, like, one of my favorite characters is Dolores.
Dolores, yes.
I love Dolores.
She's very, very nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I want to know, where does Dolores come from? And how did you channel Dolores to do this whole show with Dolores?
Well, it's funny you should mention because Ian, Ian and I did we had jokes that we'd found that fitted an old person, and Ian's audience. We used to tease Ian that his audience is aging. You know, he's got a whole like a cotton field of old people in his shows. You know.
Yeah.
And so we did these two characters, which we called Jack and Johnny. Now, my father-in-law's name was Johnny, and he was quite. My mother-in-law used to always moan at him, you know, Johnny, no man, Johnny, man, don't do this, you know. So I became Johnny, and he was Jack and Johnny, and we did this. It was a duo character, and then I actually worked it out from you know when I went solo. Then I thought, no, hang on, I've got to work these. The similar material, and we worked the character Dolores came from Jack and Johnny. That Jack and Johnny scripts that I condensed and then found new stuff, and then obviously based it completely on my mother-in-law. Val, she was wonderful. She was a strong woman.
Yeah.
Proper Eastern Cape stock, you know, which I love. I love the Lower Albany accent as well. The Lower Albany accent is very slow, you know, and they talk in a story-like way. You know, they say you're going on, Zane, you're going on tour, eh? You're going on a tour, you know. And they don't say Port Alfred, they say Telford. You know, they've got their whole way of speaking, you know, Zane, and that's all quite slow. You speak to the Wilmots down there, and you know the Gardeners, and you know they're all from Salem and those places there near Kenton-on-Sea. And they all got a place down there, organising a festival, Gino. You know. That's the guys, you know. I love it. I love it. It's part of us here in the Eastern Cape, and it's so us, you know. And I mean, my bloodline is certainly from there, you know. On my mom's side, my dad's side is Italian, like I said, but my mother's side definitely it's Eastern Cape, you know.
Please come around, have a look at the Bowls Club. It's a beautiful thing, and now we're trying to get the youngsters to come and join, you know. It's a very, very nice sport, and it's quite good for your fitness, because you walk, and then you walk up, and then you roll like that, and so it's very good for your fitness, you know. So I'd like to just put an advert out there for the Bowls Clubs. But come through, it's quite bright here. It's going to be maybe the sun is going to be in our eyes, you know. But that's just the kind of thing we have to watch out for when we're bowling.
For a while, I would say, I don't want to say you pulled back, because you grew so much by pulling back and creating this character for yourself, where a lot of people, like when I first met you, I actually thought Gino Fabri was a character. I didn't realize it was your real name.
It is like a name. It's like I thought it up.
It does sound like very bougie and like, wow, that's like a Hollywood name, right?
It's Italian. Of course, my father was Italian, so that's why it's Gino. He actually wanted a girl, and it was supposed to be Gina.
Oh, okay.
See, but then it would have been Gina and say Quark. You guys are too young to remember Pinocchio.
No, we know.
Do you remember Pinocchio?
Yes.
Stout
Wat
kabouter.
was het, Gino?
Ja, sy naam is Gina en sy
sy
Quark.
Ja.
So at school, it doesn't matter. My name is Gino. Gino in Italian, Gina, Gino. But it didn't matter that it was a O, it was always Gino is a Quark. You know what it's like. It's cool.
You can see the Italian literally run through your veins, because the speaking with your hands, like this is how we do it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the same. I feel like always like I'm going to slap someone in the face when I interview them, because like it's
part
too
of the
much.
Italian thing.
Yeah, I have to express how excited I am.
I do. I speak with my hands a lot. Well, my father was born in Italy. He came out when he was 6 years old. So, and
to SA.
Yeah, to SA. Yeah, and his father, my nono.
Oh.
My nono, he came to work at Sappi at Adamas, the factory here in Deal Party.
Oh wow.
And so he moved to Port Elizabeth already in 1953, and my mother was a van Staden.
Oh wow.
But
okay. Yes, you said your grandfather.
Yeah,
so is that where the Afrikaans also comes in?
They were actually English because my grandmother was English. She was a Quinlan, you know, and she hung on to that. And my grandfather was from Queenstown, and he was a Van Staden. There were 3 brothers, Van Stadens. And my oupa Grootjie, hy was ek het gedog hy's 'n stasiemeester daar by Queenstown gewees. Hy was by bakore en lang arms wat so hy kon sy knie onder sy knie krap. maar as hy regop staan kon hy steeds onder sy knie krap. Die bakore, ek het 'n foto van hom met die hoed en die bakore, en hy was oom Paul, en ek het gehoor hy was die stasiemeester. Dan hoor ek later hy is eintlik 'n wheel tapper gewees.
Oh wow. Maar hy was op die stasie en hy was 'n meester in sy
Hy het goed
kamp.
gewerk. Hy was baie lekker ou.
That's so cute.
Die wheel toeng.
It's probably where your influence on drums came
You
from.
know,
hey?
maybe it
like
was.
your glorified wheel tapper. One day my great grandson will play drums.
Exactly,
Dum, dum, dum.
because he's got good ears.
Definitely.
You know, die bakore. Die bakore. Yeah, so he was obviously my my Italian heritage comes from that side, but certainly South African through and through, and PE through and through. My mother's side was definitely, you know, settler stock. You know, they came in looking for gold. Went to Pilgrim's Rest and you know, panning for gold and stuff. So it's that kind of history. And I always say my father, he always sounded like he was Afrikaans, because, you know, when the Italian guy he come to England, he sounded so romantic. He come and talk like this. So beautiful, romantic for the ladies.
Lady and the Tramp spaghetti.
Yes, everybody come. You want a little bit of spaghetti in my house? Can you come to my house? Maybe we have a little wine. But when they learn Afrikaans first from Italian, then they talk flat like that. They got Italian accent like this. They talk like a Greek or Porras. They roll their R's, and it's so nice. And they say, "Yo, why you not wear a vest? You're going to catch a death of cold."
Welcome to the Velvet Kitchen. What are we going to make today? Some of this. Shake it, baby. Freeze it. And a little that. Delicious. Ooh la la. First choice velvet, the new dairy dessert, available in chocolate and vanilla.
I think where I noticed that who this person is, who Gino is, was when you started appearing on TV with Woodlands Dairies. And their adverts. And I mean, the Woodlands just had this whole thing where they turned how old?
Yes.
Whatever. And you're still part of Woodlands.
We did a whole lot of Woodland stuff at the time, and I do. I mean, you know, it was Spa, Woodlands, Sovereign Chicken as well, which were Eastern Cape companies which I'd done a lot of work for.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the fact that it's Eastern Cape. You know, there's something about, especially, and it's becoming more and more prevalent now with AI and social media almost eating itself, because you look at social media, you don't know what to believe anymore. You know, so if there's no truth in it, then people are gonna ditch it. And I'm hoping that it's going to go back to our local area, our local thing. I want PE to and the Eastern Cape to have its own world that we and we help each other and we go forward together. We've got so much talent, we've got so much creativity in this area of ours here, and we need human interaction.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's gonna happen. That's why I like dealing with the local companies. And my own show, the Gino Spot Show, is Eastern Cape, you know, and my characters are a lot of them based in the Eastern Cape.
Yeah.
I've got a couple like, you know, Ruamba Nauni and those guys who can come from anywhere really.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that people can relate to the characters, you know.
I was brought up when I was small, but very small by my father, because my mother left home before I was born.
And I knew I could make people laugh. And when I acted, when I had a part to play, then I shone. So I knew that I could do it.
Yes.
And then, but I didn't want to. I was playing drums and I'd put my cymbals around me. I just wanted to maybe a little bit of backing vocals. Ooh, you know. And then I started singing more backing, more harmonies and things as well. And eventually I joined up with Epi and the boys. I don't know, Epi Angeleri is the Nose Pizza. Fantastic pizzas, by the way.
Best pizza in P.
In town, I tell you what, the Nose Pizza.
The nose. Because the nose knows.
The nose knows. He said, I pick the nose.
Should be a slogan.
I just got it.
Cameraman slow on the mark, yeah. So Epi gave, there were a couple of people and that really showed me the way to do this stuff. And I was singing out front. I'd eventually come out front and play a bit of guitar and do a bit of singing. And I realized I could make a connection. But when I saw because I wouldn't know how to use it. So I was dragged to a show once. We used to go to festival. We were just talking about Grahamstown Festival before the show. I used to go to Grahamstown Festival a lot to go because my mom was so into the arts, and she would go and see the exhibitions, and then she'd take us to like 10 shows in 3 days, and we'd go and to get festival burnout. But I watched Andrew Buckland, who I had on my show just recently, and him, and then also I was playing with Anton Karlitz at the time. I was doing percussion. We did a show together at the festival, and he was doing this mime, comedy sort of cabaret stuff, and I realized these rules don't really, you don't have certain rules for cabaret or whatever.
Yes.
It's just, you can just go for it. And then she dragged me to see Oren McElroy and Lisa Bobbitt. They did a thing called Revenge of the Pink Panties or something it was called. And I was being dragged because I thought, it's cabaret, ek soek nie Edith Piaf nie, of ek kan nie meer nie. But so I was dragged there, and then these guys blew my mind. Oren was just like insane. There were no rules. Like you can do anything you like on that stage. The audience doesn't even know what's going to happen next day. They might be under attack. This guy might even hurt them.
Yeah.
We don't know. And so it just opened my mind up to the fact that, hey, you can do cabaret. It doesn't necessarily mean just singing opera or singing Jacques Brel. It's something else. This can be anything. Yes. And it can be comedy, and it can be, and so I came at it from that angle, using the music, because I knew a lot of songs, and then I thought, well, I can sing, I can use my voice. My voice is, I'm not a vocalist, but I can certainly make it happen, So I started singing and started doing songs and in character.
Yeah.
Like my first one was my Italian guy.
Yes.
I used my Italian for the ladies. You are looking so beautiful, Lisa. Oh, Lisa Maria. Maria is a beautiful name. What it mean? Moonlight.
But I remember going to a show where you played the Italian guy. It was literally a rock show, and you brought this character out, and I sat there going, wow, you can do anything on stage. And like in the back of my mind, like this little light switch started triggering, and it influenced a lot of how I saw theatre afterwards.
Yeah, but even life, what I was talking about Epi as well. He made me realize that if you don't put yourself out there, people don't believe you. It's not authentic.
Yeah.
So you got to just give of yourself completely. 90% of the people will love you. 10% will be scared to death.
But they'll still talk about you.
But they'll still talk about it, and they'll also, it's their own fears. Public speaking, getting in front of people, people watching me. You can't worry about that. You've just got to go for it. You've just got to be completely authentic in yourself. And you've got to not be scared of people laughing at you, because that's what it's all about.
Exactly.
It's entertaining.
Exactly.
Epi would go out there and sing, do some La Bamba on the guitar, and he just didn't care. And it made me think to myself, like, man, I think I can do this.
As you can see here, we have some of the bowlers on the green already, some of them not really in the right outfits. You have to wear the whites. We find it better to wear the whites, because then you can see, who's who and who's just a spectator. Otherwise, what's the point? So what we have here on the sides, you see on the edge of the greens here, we have these poles, and that's where we put the fireworks. We put them in there for the night time so that we can light up the green and also sort of eject anybody that's not supposed to be there.
Drums.
Yeah, drums. Yeah,
Where you do like classical music on drums.
That's it. I do the classics, and I do the rock classics as well. But what I've done now, because my son is doing so well. I don't know if you know Chelsea. He's overtaken me in terms of national profile. He's really, guys come up to me and say, you, I'm like, yeah, from the shows. Chelsea's dad. Oh, yeah. Because he's DJing, but he's writing his own stuff as well, and he's done so well. He has put together a drumming thing for me, which I've learned now. I'm doing it, or sort of the evolution of house. So deep house, Afro, tech, from Pansula to Gom to all those sort of modern house sort of stuff. Yes. But I wanted the bangers, I wanted the songs that are really that happen, and so I've got that thing, and I haven't played it yet, but I think it's going to go really well. Yeah. If I thought that the drums, I wasn't sure about the drums when I first did it. The first time I actually did that drumming thing, I thought, well, I don't know. People watching drums for 10 minutes, it went down like a storm. Yeah. And it's become like my highlight, So people say, you're going to come, but you're going to bring drums. They want to see those drums every time, because you don't think of the skills involved. The drums there's natural skill involved, which I don't think about because I've been doing it since I was in nappies. But the other thing is nostalgia. The nostalgia is massive. People love to hear their old songs, and when they see it being played on the drums, then it's like. So the evolution of drums has just become a smash. It's amazing.
While we're recording, last question.
Yeah.
What's next for Gino Fabry?
Well, I've got to start putting a new show together, because I've got some material that I've been working on, and some of the characters that I've done a very long time ago, I've actually rewritten and redone. So I need to, like, I've got my hippie guy, Lentil Versace. He's like he's so vegan and so I'm a hollow reed. We say I'm a hollow reed. And so he's been meditating, because it's better than sitting around doing nothing. So I'm not actually.
Sorry, I'm a bit slow on jokes sometimes, but that's funny.
I do meditation because it's better than sitting around doing nothing, So Lentil Versace. We've got my Italian guy. He's always fun, and so I need to do a show where I put some of my favorites, and then some of the new people, like Dolores. She's really cooking at the moment. She's great, in the show. And then I've got this new house music drum thing that I do as well for the younger audience too. I think I'm going to use the nun. I've got my a sister. Well, I think we're calling her Sister Bettina now.
Oh, yes, well done.
Sister Bettina I'm going to use, and she's got a nun's outfit and everything. She's Irish, of course, and she'll be doing the drum medley with all the house music and the gom. And then, of course, we have the area over here where we have the drinks, which is the most important part of the the bowls club, the drinks part, because we like to drink if we bowlers. Let me tell you, sometimes we have to sleep here, in fact, a lot of the vagrants come and sleep here in the evenings, but we're okay with that, because we're all one community here.
My droom om op 'n verhoog te staan en my passie vir musiek en liedjies skryf met ander te deel, word 'n opwindende werklikheid. En ek nooi jou uit om dit saam met my te beleef. Jy kan kom luister hoe ek met ondersteuning van 'n 13-lid orkes oorspronklike musiek uit die diepste vertrekke van my hart sing. En jy kan kom saam sing met treffers van Teens Jordan, Bruce Springsteen, One Direction en Rian Benadi. Kom kuier in die sitkamer van my hart. Vrydag aand, die 19de September by Impetus Theater. Kry nou jou kaartjies by info of by tiny.cc/Divan.